Namaste doston. Thanks for coming to my channel Learn Hindi with Urvashi. Today we are in lesson number 5, and in today's lesson we will learn about oblique effect on nouns in Hindi. So let's talk about this oblique effect. What is this oblique effect? Whenever a noun is followed by a postposition, this postposition triggers an oblique effect on the noun. So before all this, let's talk about postpositions in Hindi. Just like we have prepositions in English, like the words in, on, to, from, with, all these are prepositions in Hindi. Why are they called prepositions? Because they are positioned before the noun or before the word. For example, on the table, in the room. In these phrases, you're noticing that the words on, in are placed before the noun. And in Hindi, what happens is these words, these prepositions now become postpositions. That means they are placed after the noun in Hindi. So to say on the table in Hindi, the order would be table on. To say in the room in Hindi, the order would be room in. So you're noticing that the prepositions are placed after the word or post the word, and that's the reason they are called as postpositions. Now, whenever a noun is followed by a postposition, this postposition triggers an oblique effect on the noun. Oblique effect just means that the ending of the noun would show a slight change. How it sounds earlier, now after the oblique effect, it starts sounding slightly different. The ending changes a little bit. And in today's lesson, we will see how this oblique effect changes the various nouns. So it's like a golden rule in Hindi. It's a very useful concept which tells you that whenever a noun is followed by any postposition, this noun will show a certain change, and that change is due to the oblique effect. So now to begin with the concept, we'll start with the types of nouns in Hindi. We have two types of nouns in Hindi, masculine and feminine nouns. Masculine nouns are further divided into two categories, type 1 masculine noun and type 2. So the type 1 masculine nouns end with a sound. So when I'm saying ah, you're noticing that the mouth opens up wide while saying this particular sound, ah. So all the nouns, all the masculine nouns which have ah as their ending are put in type 1 category. And the type 2 nouns, type 2 masculine nouns can have any other ending. Any ending but not ah. So we divide it into two categories. The masculine nouns which end with a are called type 1, and the ones which don't end with a but any other ending are called type 2 masculine nouns. So let's take an example. The word for boy in Hindi is ladka. Now you hear a sound at the end of this word, so we'll put it in type 1 category. And the word for house in Hindi is Ghar. It's a masculine noun, type 2, because you're hearing that Ghar is not ending with a, but some other ending is there. So that's how we divide the masculine nouns into two categories. Okay. Now let's have a look at the various rules. Rules of how to change the nouns from singular to plural and also into obliques. So we start with the first type, masculine type 1. So here you see that I've written down for changing a type 1 masculine noun from singular to plural, what we do is we remove a ending from the noun and replace it with a. So the sound is close mouth a sound, or you could say the alphabet A in English, A. That is the sound with which you replace the a ending. So ladka, from that word I am removing a and putting the sound a, and it becomes ladke. So to change the noun boy from singular to plural, boys, what we do is we remove a and replace it with A. And the answer is Ladke. That's our word for saying boys. So that's our first rule. Moving to the second rule, we learn how to change singular noun to its singular oblique form. Now why do we need this particular form? Suppose in a sentence you're saying the phrase for the boy. You notice that in Hindi order it would be boy for. And because for is a postposition, it will trigger an oblique effect on the word boy. So here you need to change the noun from the singular form to its singular oblique form. And here the rule is the same. You see that a from the noun is removed and replaced with a. Again, ladka changes to ladke, but this time it is due to the oblique effect. So the correct way of saying for the boy in Hindi is ladke ke liye. Notice that it is not ladka ke liye. Ladka is just the singular noun, but when you add the postposition ke liye or for, it triggers an oblique effect, make the singular word into its singular oblique form, which is ladke. So our final answer is ladke ke liye. That's how you say for the boy. Okay? And then going to the third rule in this category. The third rule teaches us how to change the plural noun boys into the plural oblique form of the word. And again we need it in phrases like for the boys. In this you notice what's going on. Boys is a plural word followed by for. So this postposition is going to change the plural noun boys into its plural oblique. Now let's see how to change that. In this case, we remove a sound from the plural word and replace it with o. So ladke, a ending is removed from that, o is added. It sounds like ladko. So the answer is ladkon ke liye. That's how you would say for the boys. So there's a very clear distinction between saying for the boys singular, that is ladke ke liye, and for the boys plural, that is ladkon ke liye. So we can easily understand that singular oblique and plural oblique terms sound totally different. So there's no chance of confusion there. So again, taking you back to the three rules that we saw. For type 1 masculine nouns, the ending is a in the word. For changing it from singular to plural, remove a from the word, replace it with a. So if boy is ladka, boys would be ladke. For saying the singular oblique form of the word, example you'd like to say for the boy. Again the same rule of a replaced with a is applied and the answer would be ladke ke liye. Now the third rule, if you'd like to say plural oblique form of the noun, for example, for the boys. In that case, you replace a sound with o. Now it becomes ladkon ke liye in the plural oblique form. Now we go to the next category of masculine nouns. This is masculine type 2. So masculine type 2 nouns have any other ending but not a. They can have just any other ending but not a, because a is in type 1, and these nouns can have any ending and they fall in the type 2 category. We have taken the example of the word house here. House in Hindi is Ghar. It doesn't end with a, so falls in the type 2 category. So let's start with the first rule. To change it from singular to plural, the rule says that your word stays the same. So if you want to say house or houses, the word is just ghar. It stays the same. There could be a certain confusion sometimes that whether a person is saying house or houses, so you could add the number to convey it more clearly. For example, ek ghar could be said for saying one house, and do ghar could be said for saying two houses. But you notice that the word ghar stays as it is even in the plural form. So numbers could be added before such nouns to convey that they are plural. Okay, next one. To change this noun from singular to singular oblique. For example, you're trying to say the phrase in the house. In that case, you need the oblique form of the word house because it's followed by in. In Hindi is may. The rule says that again the word stays the same in the singular oblique form. So it stays as ghar. So the answer would be ghar mein. Even after putting may in masculine type 2, singular oblique, the rule is just that the word will stay as it is. So ghar stays the same and you've just added the postposition. Ghar mein is the way of saying in the house. Then going to the third rule here, we would see how to say in the houses. Here we require plural oblique form of the word because houses is plural followed by may or in Hindi. So we are saying in the houses. In this we do have a rule, and the rule is you need to add o to the word. It's just a slight nasal sound, o. It's not on, not a strong N, just a very subtle N, o. So when you add that to the noun, it becomes gharo, and the answer would be gharo mein, that is in the houses. So let me take you back to the three rules that we saw for masculine type 2 nouns. Number 1, not the first rule, but the first point would be that these nouns do not end with a. They can have any other ending. So we took the example ghar. To make it from singular to plural, word stays the same, like do ghar, two houses. To make it from singular to singular oblique, word stays the same. So if you are trying to say in the house, it stays the same, ghar mein. And the third one, to make it plural oblique, for example, in the houses, you just need to add o to the existing word. So ghar plus o becomes gharo. Answer would be gharo mein, in the houses. So that's all about masculine type 1 and type 2 and the rules. For both the types we saw three rules: singular to singular oblique, plural to plural oblique. Okay, now let me take you to the feminine nouns and the rules around the feminine nouns now. So number 1, feminine nouns are also divided into two types, type 1 and type 2. The type 1 feminine nouns always end with E sound. It's a long E sound in Hindi. E. Example, the word for girl in Hindi is ladki, ladki. So you hear the E ending. Feminine type 1 nouns always end with E. And about feminine type 2 nouns, they don't end with E. That means that feminine type 2 can have any other ending but not E. So we are taking the example of the word girl in type 1 feminine noun. So let's see the first rule. How to change it from singular to plural. So the word for girl is ladki. If I have to change it to the word girls, what I do is I replace the E sound from the word, remove that and replace it with Ia. Ia. That's the sound. The E becomes shorter and Ya has a nasal ending. Ia. Ladki changes to ladkiyan. Ladkiyan is the word for girls in Hindi. So replace the E sound from the end of the word with Ia. Ladkiyan would be the way we say girls. Rule number 2. How to change it from singular to singular oblique. Here the word stays the same. So if I have to say for the girl, I would just say ladki ke liye. So the word ladki shows no change in the singular oblique form. That means if the singular noun is followed by any postposition, it stays the same in feminine type 1. So for the girl is just ladki ke liye. The word ladki does not change here. Going to the third rule, how to say the plural oblique form. For this what we do is, we replace the iya sound from the end of the plural word, like we were talking about the word girls in Hindi is ladkiyan. So that iya ending is removed and iyo ending is added. Iyo. Now the answer is ladkiyon or ladkiyon ke liye. That would be the phrase for saying for the girls. So just remember that iya, the ending that you added for plural, that plural ending is removed and replaced with iyo to make it plural oblique. So if I have to say for the girls, Hindi order is girls for. For triggers a oblique effect on this particular noun, it becomes ladkiyon ke liye. So let me take you back to all the three rules for feminine type 1. First thing is feminine type 1 ends with E sound. First rule, to make it from singular to plural, E sound is replaced with iya. Ladki changes to ladkiyan. For singular oblique, the word stays the same. So if I have to say for the girl, answer is ladki ke liye. Plural oblique, you replace iya sound from the plural and you remove iya sound from the plural word and replace it with iyo. And the answer is ladkiyon ke liye. So this was about type 1 feminine nouns. Now we move to type 2 feminine nouns in Hindi. The type 2 feminine nouns can have any other ending but not e. So the example that we are taking here is the word book in Hindi. Book is a feminine noun, kitab. We can observe here it's not ending with the E sound, so it's feminine type 2 noun. Let's go to the first rule here. If I have to change book to books, plural, what the rule says is add A ending to the word. A. It has the A sound nasalized. A. That's the ending. So kitab becomes kitabe. You're not removing or replacing anything. You're just adding A to the existing word. So kitabe is our way of saying books. Going to the next rule, we see how to change it from singular to singular oblique. Here the rule says that the word stays the same. So if I have to say in the book, book followed by the postposition in. Because of the oblique effect also, the word book stays the same in the singular form and the answer would be kitab mein, in the book. And the third rule, to make it plural oblique, if you would like to say in the books, you notice books is followed by in, which causes an oblique effect. Books will change from plural to plural oblique. So here what we do is, we replace A sound from the plural noun. A is removed, O is added. So kitabe is the plural noun. A removed, O added. It becomes kitabon. And the phrase in the books would be kitabon mein. Kitabon mein. O is a very nasal sound here. So A removed, O added. These are your three rules here. Feminine type 2 can have any other ending but not E. So for the first one, for making it plural, what you do, singular to plural, you add E. Kitab becomes kitabe in the plural form. Then if you'd like to say it in the singular oblique form, it stays the same. There's no change. So kitab mein is the answer. And in the plural oblique form, you remove A from the plural noun and add O. Then it becomes kitabon mein for saying in the books. So that was a rule about feminine type 2. So now we have seen all the 4 categories: masculine type 1, type 2, and feminine type 1 and type 2. We will start practicing now. So let me take you through some practice nouns here. So the first noun that I've written down here is the word room in Hindi. This word is kamra. Kamra is a masculine type 1 noun. It ends with a. So in the next line you see how to say 2 rooms in Hindi. We've changed it to do kamre. Do is number 2 and kamra becomes kamre. What rule did you apply here? You removed a from the noun and put in a ending. Kamra becomes kamre. 2 rooms. Then for saying the singular oblique form, in the room or room in, kamra will again become singular oblique here because of the postposition later. And the rule is a becoming a. So the answer is kamre mein. And the third phrase, in the rooms, would be kamron mein. Why kamron mein? Because the plural noun kamre, from there we are removing a, replacing it with o in this rule. O nasal sound. So it becomes kamron mein, in the rooms. Then the next example we have is the word paper in Hindi. This word is kagas. Kagas. It's a masculine type 2 noun. It does not end with a sound. So if we have to say the plural noun papers or 10 papers, in this type 2 category, for changing it from singular to plural, the word stays the same. So here I've just written down thus kagas. Kagas stays the same, 10 papers. If we'd like to say on the paper, in this case we are applying singular oblique effect. Because of the postposition per, the word will show an oblique effect. In this case what happens? The word stays the same again. So it's just kagas par. Then the third one, on the papers, would become kagazon par. Here you are using a certain rule. What we do here is, to the plural noun we add o. So kagas plus o becomes kagazon. Kagazon par would be on the papers. Okay, this is type 1 and type 2. You know, in all the plural oblique nouns, this o ending is constant. Whether it's type 1 masculine, feminine, or type 2 masculine or feminine, like kamro, kagazon, kitabon, ladkiyon, all these o sounds are always there when a noun is in the plural oblique form. The next example we have is the word car in Hindi, that is gaadi. It's a feminine type 1 noun ending with a e. If we'd like to say cars plural, we replace the e sound with iyan. It becomes gaadiyan. If we'd like to say singular oblique form, in the car, the word stays the same. So the answer is gaadi mein. If we'd like to say in the cars, in the plural oblique form, the iya is removed and eo is added. Now the answer is gaadiyon mein. So that was about type 1. Going to type 2, feminine noun, we've taken the example sister. Sister in Hindi is behen. Does not end with the e sound. If I would like to say sisters, plural, for making it plural we add a to the noun. So it becomes behne, sisters. If I would like to say with the sister, I need the singular oblique form of the noun. Here it stays the same. In feminine type 2, the word shows no change. So it would be just behen ke saath, where the postposition ke saath means with. And if we'd like to say with the sisters, plural oblique is required. Here what we do is we remove a from the plural noun and attach o. The answer would be behno ke saath, with the sisters. So you've observed that all the plural oblique nouns have the ending o in Hindi. So that was all about obliques today and how the oblique effect happens on the various nouns. So you just have to remember 3 rules for each category. For masculine type 1, type 2, feminine type 1 and type 2, just remember 3 rules each. how to change it from singular to plural, then singular to singular oblique, and the third rule, plural to plural oblique. Once you remember this, forming long sentences and forming phrases would be very easy for you, because you would know why the words are changing, why the nouns are changing in a certain way, why the endings are showing a certain change. It is all due to the oblique effect triggered on the word due to any postposition. Okay, so I hope you liked this lesson. Hope this lesson helped you understand how the oblique effect works on these various nouns. If you need any help from my side, please let me know in the comments section. And in the next lesson, lesson number 6, I will be teaching you more on oblique effect, but this time we will learn that how oblique effect is also seen on associated words like pronouns and adjectives. Now we'll talk about how the oblique effect works with pronouns, adjectives, etc. Today it was all about nouns. In the next lesson we will learn how oblique effect works on the associated words in Hindi. I hope you liked this lesson. I will see you very soon. Have a great day. See you next time. Namaste. Take care.